Hi, we're here with Birmingham Police Chief A.C. Roper to talk about what the community can do to help fight crime. And Chief Roper, thank you for coming in today. I want to talk to you about a couple of things, but first let's see who you guys are looking for.
All right, we have two suspects that we're highlighting today, and the first is Mr. Michael Thomas. He's wanted for burglary 3rd degree, and his last known address is the 4100 block of 5th Court North here in Birmingham. And then we're also looking for Miss LaTarsha Files. Miss LaTarsha Files. She's also wanted for burglary 3rd degree, and her last known address is the 1600 block of Avenue T in Ensley, right here in Birmingham. So we're asking the viewers if they have any information on either of these subjects to contact the Birmingham Police Department or call Crime Stoppers at 205-254-7777.
It's been 1 week since the shootings at the UPS Center in Birmingham, and I just want to get your reflection on that. That's something nobody wants to hear, certainly. Active shooter.
Well, absolutely. First of all, a tremendous tragedy for those 3 families that are involved, and the company and the employees that witnessed this horrific incident of violence. I'm proud of the way the department responded. Our patrol officers who arrived on the scene first had to rally up and make entry, because in the old days you would wait for the SWAT team or the tactical team to respond. But now the paradigm has shifted, so that first responder has to go in. But before we even were called, the whole incident was over. The whole thing probably lasted about 10 seconds because this person worked there for 20 plus years, knew exactly what he wanted to do, and walked right in the door and basically accomplished his mission. Tremendous loss of life. And so it's really sad, and now everyone's trying to recover. We still have an active investigation, just trying to paint the picture of what led up to last week's shooting.
And this is, you know, by all accounts, it's a workplace shooting. It seems almost classic. Disgruntled worker comes in. Is there anything law enforcement can do on the front end to prevent something like that when people are in an office place where they feel like somebody is just not stable?
Well, it's extremely difficult for us from a law enforcement perspective because normally, unless the person has made some kind of threat, you won't have a violation of the law. We're really counting on employers and that workplace to have the resources, to have the avenues of reporting, so that when someone begins to display threatening type behavior or they're going through a termination process, where employees feel safe and comfortable bringing that information forward to say, we're concerned about this person. And so then the company has to respond appropriately. And so as we work through this investigation, and UPS is fully cooperating, we'll try to determine exactly what led up to it and what we can do in the future to prevent these types of incidents. But as you look around, you see it occurring all over the nation.
The day after that shooting, the FBI released something on multiple shootings in workplaces. It was the active shooter study, and it talked about, you know, just in the last 14 years, how it's doubled the number of incidents that these copycat things seem to, when that type of stuff is in the news, people tend to act and then, you know, become even more outrageous with their behavior.
Absolutely, because we have the copycats, and that has some influence because of our 24-hour news cycle. Some people are easily influenced. Most people are sound, stable-minded. They'll go through a termination process and there's no issues. But we are starting to see more cases where, here in Birmingham with the UPS shooting, and then of course the one that occurred in Hoover at Rossbridge Hotel, and now you also see the one out in the Midwest part of our nation, I think in Oklahoma, all within a week's time. National news regarding a terminated employee who then takes someone's life.
You said that it's changed now. When police arrive on the scene, when you guys get these calls, you don't have to wait on SWAT to go in. You can go in immediately. Even if that situation had not been over, they would have gone in.
Absolutely. Now and it actually started back after the Columbine shooting incident. That was the incident that really caused a major shift in the paradigm of responding to an active shooter. You don't want officers standing outside making a perimeter when there's gunshots inside the building. Someone has to go in and address the threat. And so now when we hire a new officer as part of their basic academy training, we take them through a block of active shooter response training as part of their academy training. So when they graduate, they already know the procedures and the process and what the expectations are. So every one of our officers knows how to respond, and when those East Precinct officers got on the scene, they immediately rallied up and went into the building.
This will be my last question. The witnesses, the people who were in the office, they seem to react. We listened to the 911 calls that we obtained. They seem to react in a way that I thought, I thought they would be freaking out, but everybody seemed to get away from the scene. They were hunkered down in offices. The one woman who was telling somebody, close the door, close the door. Is the public more aware of how they should react in these situations now?
The public is more aware, and unfortunately, we seem to have more experience, even from a media reporting perspective, on what's the appropriate actions to take. And so now, people who may not have ever had any personal experience have some idea of what to do. And the first thing is to run, try to exit the building, and we had some employees there who exited the building immediately and got out of there. Others will hide, and as a last resort, if you're forced to do so, that's when you fight for your life. But the first rule of thumb is try to get out of there, call 911 so police can respond, and maybe we can get there in time to take appropriate action. But it's extremely difficult because these incidents normally are over within a matter of minutes. And from reviewing this investigation, literally within 10 seconds, the entire incident was over.
No words exchanged.
Still working through that. Once he entered one of the offices, we don't know if something was said, but as he entered that building, within a matter of seconds, it was over.
What do you say to those people who witnessed that? It's something police, you guys are trained to deal with this, but these people are not. We know they were put on a bus and taken away and just to get a little care and get their statements. But I mean, what do you say to them if they're watching?
Well, first of all, our department has prepared for this. So we have a protocol that we've implemented, that we've drafted, that's on paper, that now we're having phone calls from all over the nation asking for our protocol. And so we took the tactical team's bus. We took all of the employees out of there to get them out of that surrounding, out of that environment. We bused them down to the Boutwell Auditorium to try to give them some comfort. We had chaplains and mental health professionals there. And then we started the interviewing process because we needed the information. But when people saw that across the nation, they said, wow, that's different. Let's contact the Birmingham Police Department. Wasn't my idea. That idea came from our detective unit a year or two back. And so hopefully we won't have to implement it too many times because that means something bad has happened. But it worked and we were able to get some order out of the chaos. But to the people who might have experienced it, if you need help, there's nothing wrong with getting help. And whether that's a pastor, a clergy, mental health professional, a counselor, whatever the case might be, because asking for help is not a sign of weakness. That's actually a sign of strength. That shows that you've identified a situation that you need help with. You know, I like to tell some that when your car needs maintenance or repair, we have no problem taking the car to the shop. Well, when you witness something like that that you have never experienced before, you might need some help to get through that. And so seek help, talk to someone so that you can come through this even stronger, and you'll then be able to help other people.
Always encouraging, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you for talking with us. We'll be back next week to chat with Birmingham Police Chief A.C. Roper about what our community can do to help police fight crime.